Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so tonight I thought we would talk a little bit about this upcoming new moon in Aquarius. If you're watching this video the day it goes live, we have a super new moon in Aquarius tomorrow, Friday, February 9th into Saturday, February 10th. I believe it goes direct at like 6 p.m. Eastern time on Friday evening. Now, whenever we're experiencing a new moon, we are focusing on planting seeds, getting clear on our manifestations so that they can come to fruition over the following weeks. With this being an Aquarian new moon, we are going to notice a lot of themes around technology, the greater good for the collective. A lot of shifts are happening currently. I also should mention I did get to partner with my friend Bet on the astrology for this read. So a few of the talking points you will hear me mention are directly from Bet, so you know it's good. She's really getting in there for us. So very, very excited to have had her send over some information for us. So this new moon specifically, with all of the research that I have done, feels like it's kind of giving the energy of like there's a lot of moving parts. We're experiencing a lot of shifts in the world around us with tech, AI. On a more personal level, we're going to be reflecting a lot on how we can improve things for the collective. Also adding on to the shifts that we're going to be seeing around us, besides the more technological aspects of things, a lot of us are going to be feeling called to reflect on our relationships. This is not just our romantic relationships and partnerships, but how we show up in our friendships, in our relationships with coworkers, with family, and really observing if there's a different way that we'd like to show up, if we'd like to deepen any of those connections, if we would like to just kind of almost shift around how we prioritize the energy. Environmentally as well, we'll probably see and experience some shifts around societal structures. You know, we're experiencing effects of the Aquarian age currently, and that's really going to start showing up, especially with this more heightened energy. We have a lot of Pluto energy happening right now, so I almost feel like this new moon energy it might honestly feel like a full moon for a lot of us. We might be feeling more called to reflect and observe on what we want to release and change and shift out of versus what we want to call in. It's still a great time for manifestation, but it's more so in a very observant way. This new moon is really asking us to reflect on where we're going and if the ways that we have been moving forward are aligned with where we would like to continue to move through. In terms of things on a more internal level, this is, as I mentioned, observing how we show up energetically in those relationships, in our friendships, in our friend groups, and also, again, because we're talking about Aquarius, like in our community. You know, this can look like outgrowing people, outgrowing patterns, outgrowing like routines and more like habitual things in our life. You know, if you always used to go out and do this very specific thing and just like having that moment of reflection of like, is this something I want to continue to do, or can I spend my time and energy in a different way that's maybe more supportive, more aligned? So on the other kind of end of that spectrum, right, instead of outgrowing people, situations, relationships, routines, opening up to expanding our communities, expanding the people that we do give our time and energy to, expanding and again deepening. So for me, this feels like expanding the coven, expanding how I connect with people in the coven and how we show up in the coven, expanding friendships, maybe people that have been more of an acquaintance or had a slightly more surface level dynamic. Maybe it's time to take those deeper if you're feeling connected to do so. I really was feeling, even though this is Aquarius, again, I think it's just because of, to me, this does feel a little bit more like full moon energy. It could be because it's super new moon, I'm not really sure, but it does feel like there's a deepening that is being asked for. And I personally have been feeling this. And actually, if you're in the coven, you will have heard me talk about this, but one of the things that I really felt coming through for me on a personal level for 2024, for leading into this new year as we approach spring equinox. I've really been craving deepening my practice, and it's already pretty deep, but I've really been craving calling in and cultivating more sacredness in my practice and in my routines. And that feels really prominent with this new moon specifically. It's cultivating and almost like integrating more sacred, more ancient wisdom, finding the magic in the mundane, creating more magic on a daily basis as a part of your daily practice. So if you've been feeling the same way, if you've been wanting to take things deeper, then this is a great time to almost use this new moon energy to experiment with that. I feel like this is really laying the groundwork for what we're going to see come to fruition come spring and into summer. Because this is an Aquarius new moon, a lot of us are also going to be really observing where we are craving more freedom in our life. This can be in our day-to-day. This can be opening ourselves up to deepening our relationships, especially on a romantic level. It's very aligned with like Valentine's Day energy. This has the potential to be very juicy and romantic if we want it to be. That being said, if you're not someone who has a romantic relationship or a partner, this can just be romanticizing your daily life, romanticizing deepening your practice in self-love and your relationship with yourself. In terms of abundance, manifestation, career, things like that, because this is a new moon and I do want to touch on that a little bit, I feel as though it's going to be really important for us to be so open to the ideas that come through during this time. I feel like there's going to be a lot of downloads coming through for a lot of us, especially in regards to expanding on our careers and expanding on what that next chapter, what that next phase looks like for all of us in that way when it comes to our money and how we pay our bills and how we show up in our day-to-day world in terms of abundance. This is going to be such an important time for us to listen to our intuition and trust our intuition. Like, listen to the signs, ask for signs if you want, but see them. Like, see them and be like, that is a sign, not just looking at them and being like, I don't know. No, if it's coming through, it's coming through for a reason right now. In terms of the freedom that I was talking about, I also feel like this is a very reflective new moon. It's what does personal freedom look like for you? What would that feel like? In terms of putting this into practice, some of the things that I was feeling most called to share. First of all, crystal recommendations. Any new moon, if you're manifesting specific things, obviously choose crystals according to that are aligned with the energy of whatever you're trying to yourself align with. But I really feel like for this one specifically, this is going to be a great time to grab your moonstone, grab your labradorite, especially because there's so much information that has the potential to be coming in that is really, I feel, has the potential to really catapult where we go and the decisions that we make. I feel like if we open ourselves up, there's a lot of potential for you and for all of us to receive information that is going to radically shift the outcome of the coming months and even the rest of the year. So my biggest suggestion crystal wise, grab your labradorite, grab your moonstone, open up that third eye and really just tap in and try to be as open as possible, and I promise the messages will come. In terms of activities for this new moon, so if you're interested in joining the coven and expanding your community with us, I always have it linked down below, so you can check out the description of this video. There will be a link there if you're interested in joining the coven. We do a ritual together every single new and full moon, and we also gather for the Sabbats, and we're working towards having like some in-person meetups throughout the warmer months. In terms of what you can be doing that's not necessarily just a ritual, if you just want to tap in with yourself and connect and open yourself up to all of this support and messaging that can be coming through, I would really encourage you to journal on what your life would look like if you were already on the other side of this doorway that you see for yourself. You don't necessarily have to know the how, but just how do you then show up? What does your day-to-day look like? How do you spend your time? How do you spend your energy? Who is around you? How do you feel? And also, this is a great time to reflect on what area in your life really, again, reflect and observe what area in your life needs or could use a refresher, could use some attention, could use a revamp. This can be revisiting your finances. This can be revisiting a routine or ritual or habit that you maybe were implementing and you kind of fell off. This can be, maybe I really want to shift my focus on my health and my physical body. Maybe I want to focus on my spiritual practice because it's kind of been on the back burner. Maybe I need to prioritize more date nights with my partner because I feel like we've been a little all over the place and not touching base in a deep enough way lately. It can also be very physical. It can be very much like, is there an area of your home that is feeling stagnant, uninspiring, or just like blocked, trapped energy that needs to be just cleared out, refreshed, renewed? Again, we're building up to that very much like spring cleaning energy. So check out where in your life you can connect and deepen and expand and explore on that. I'm also going to be offering new moon card pulls. So if you're interested in getting a reading from me that is focused on the new moon, I'm going to be offering it Thursday and Friday only. So if you see this when the video goes live, come find me on Instagram and I will be happy to pull for you. I think I'm going to do a 4 or 5 card pull just around like if you're someone who maybe isn't sure what area of your life needs that attention, just kind of seeing what your guides have to say about, what soil you should be planting in or what seeds you should be planting and how you can support that growth the most. The biggest thing that I want to suggest for all of us, and this really stands pretty true through any new moon or full moon energy, we always have heightened energy. So I really encourage everyone to be as reflective as possible, be as present and mindful with yourself as possible. Really prioritize, if you're someone who meditates, if you're someone who does a daily card pull, I really encourage you to take the time and prioritize centering and grounding yourself whenever we're in peaked energy, just to avoid being reactive. New and full moons, and especially this being a super new moon in Aquarius with all of the transits that are happening, it can be very tumultuous energy. And so just to avoid being reactive, so to instead approach things with curiosity, to approach things from just being observational, just watch, just look, just observe instead of reacting. Not everything needs all of our energy right now. It's really important to just try to be as in our own lane, in our own body, in our own experience right now. Especially, again, I really feel like there's a lot of messages for us that are going to be trying to come through that have the potential to really catapult us into the rest of the year and align us with those manifestations that we want to project into for the rest of the year and further. The last couple of things that I will touch on before we do our card pull, and I am going to pull from my Sacred Cycles deck, so you guys are going to get an affirmation, a message, but also a journal prompt to take away from this. The last couple of things that I wanted to touch on are the things that Bette and I talked about, and these are, when I asked her, what are your key takeaways from this energy? What do you feel like is important for the collective to know from an astrological perspective, without giving you guys all the ins and outs of what transits are happening and why? If you're someone who's interested in that, Bette actually does astrological forecasts for us in the Coven. So if you're interested in what planets are moving where and how they're affecting each other and why you're getting these messages, come join us in the Coven. We go into it so much deeper there. But in terms of what felt important for the collective to know, she mentioned that this feels like a super important time to get creative in order to solve our own problems. And this feels so relevant to when we were in our new moon last month with that new moon in Capricorn, because what was coming up for us in our Coven meeting was, it was very hermit energy. It's very, everything you need to know is within you. You have the answers for yourself. Go inward to find your answers. And this is kind of just a more expansive version of that, which totally makes sense for this Aquarian energy. But it's use your brain, use your discernment, use your creativity to find your answers. You're totally capable of doing it. Just allow yourself to kind of go there. The other thing that was feeling very strong, which I'm feeling very strongly as someone with an Aquarius midheaven, this is a full send on our authenticity. We are being so incredibly asked to step in to our most authentic self, our most raw, real versions of who we are, not sugarcoating for anyone, not showing up how anybody expects us to other than ourselves, other than what feels good in the moment. This may, for some of us, feel a little rebellious, feel a little bit like energetically edgy, was the term that Bet used. Hi, Maxie. And so just know, it's not going to feel necessarily fun and empowering. It can be, but it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. But if we can step into that energy for this new moon, it is going to just severely amplify, and it's going to make things easier in the long run, is kind of the vibe that we were getting. And the last couple of things is like, this was giving me the energy of like doing it anyway, doing the things you want to do, even if you don't think people are going to get it, even if you don't think you're going to get the support that you're looking for, even if you don't think anybody's going to watch your video or anyone is going to listen to the message that you're saying. Do it anyway. And this is like embracing the things that make us unique, like fiercely and unapologetically. So it's a very potent time, very potent energy, and it can be so incredibly powerful. And I know I keep saying this, but it just feels like if we can really do this, we're going to have so many breakthroughs around how we now get where we're trying to go. So without further ado, let's do a card pull. As I mentioned, I'm using my Sacred Cycles deck, so we're going to do a card message, we'll get an affirmation, and we'll also get a journal prompt for all of us, which I will also have written down in the description. So if you want to write it down or write it in your journal right from there, you can absolutely do that. 2:22 on the clock. Yes. Let's see what our new moon message is. Ooh, this is so funny. Okay. So this whole video I've been saying how it feels like a full moon. We got the full moon card. Okay, let's see what this says. Okay, so the affirmation for the full moon card is, my dreams are coming true. And I'm gonna read you the message from my book just so we get all of the information, and then I'll obviously give you guys any intuitive messages that come through as well. But this card says, the brilliance of the full moon speaks to the fullness of your life. There's so much wonder gracing your experience right now, just waiting for you to shine a light upon it. The full moon represents a peak point, a culmination of effort and energy, and it is a great time to stop and take notice of what has recently manifested. This is a moment to relax into the expansiveness of what already is. You likely have heard, where thoughts go, energy flows. So focus on the abundance in your life, in all of its shapes and sizes. There has been an outpouring of doing lately, and now you can feel the magnetism that radiates around you, reflecting all that you have called in and cultivated. It is through a genuine acknowledgement and the expression of gratitude that you will be able to illuminate the blessings that may otherwise sneak by unseen. This will support you to continue on your cyclical journey of growth. And our journal prompt for this card is, what everyday blessings am I grateful for? Okay, so I love this card. I love this message. I think it's super validating for me because I was getting so many like full moon vibes from this, but it's just because it does feel like it's going to be very illuminating, and it does feel like it's going to be setting the tone in a way that a full moon would be, right? When we have a full moon, we're getting answers, things are being illuminated, things are being revealed, information is coming in. And that is very much the vibe of this Aquarius new moon. So grab your labradorite, grab your moonstone, let's do some journaling. I will leave this journal prompt down below, but as I mentioned earlier, really just journaling and reflecting on what it would feel like to be on the other side of your manifestations. What would it feel like to be on the other side of the door to your dream life? Or if it's something specific that you're wanting to shift. And then also just like journaling on an area of your life that needs or feels like it wants your attention. And then putting that into practice and then doing something about it. Reflect on your current state. Reflect on how things are feeling, where you're trying to go. And really the biggest thing I can do is urge you to just embrace yourself, embrace and open yourself up to any downloads that come through. Listen to them, trust your intuition, and allow yourself to be who you are. Allow yourself to be, like, I feel like for a lot of us that uniqueness is feeling scary, but I just really want to encourage you. You are the safest you could be energetically right now to just full send, fully step into it. The universe is ready to guide and support you. So I'm gonna leave you with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more of this. I'd be happy to do one for the full moon at the end of the month. As I mentioned, if you're interested in joining our coven, we would love to have you. I will have that linked down below. And I will see you all in the next one. I love you so much. Happy new moon. Come find me on Instagram. If you want a new moon reading, I would be happy to read for you. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.